Hiya, boys and girls. Welcome to l'ETA class. Happy learning English. Let's begin with today's lesson. We're going on a trip around the country to find where animals live. So let's do a quick warm-up before we start with our story. What are these animals? Can someone name them? What is this? We're not going to say frog. We're going to say, it is a frog. Let's try. It is a frog. Good work, guys. What about this one? What is it? We won't say turtle. Instead, we will say, it is a turtle. It would be very nice if you guys could answer my questions in a full sentence. That would be really good. That's why we say, it is a. It is a. We don't want to say one word. We want to say the full sentence. Now these two animals live in the pond. A pond is a small body of still water. What does still water mean? Still water never goes anywhere. Still water stays where it is. And that's why ponds smell funky, because the water doesn't get replaced. It stays the same all the time. Alright guys, that's just one environment where animals like to live. But animals live everywhere around the planet. Where does your favorite animal live? What is your favorite animal? The animal that you love best. My favorite animal is the tiger. Tigers live in the rainforest. That's one place where many animals live. Now let's see what are some other places. Let's check out this picture. We see animals on the ground. We see animals under the ground. And of course, we see animals in the water. Is that all the animals in the picture? No, no, no. Some animals live in the sky. Those, of course, are birds. Let's sort them out. Birds live in the sky. What about fish? Fish live in the sea. And of course, these two live on the ground, and this guy lives under the ground, Alright, so animals like to live anywhere and everywhere. Let's check out some other locations where animals like to live. What about these two? Where can we find birds and monkeys? What do we see behind them? We see some trees. Alright guys, we know that monkeys have good hands, strong hands for swinging on tree branches. So they like to stay up there in the trees. Birds as well. What do monkeys find in the trees? Bananas. Monkeys find food in the trees. That's why they go up there. They find food. Monkeys find food in the trees. What about the bird? Birds don't find a lot of food in the trees. So why are birds high up in the trees? Because they want to stay safe from kitty cats, from bigger cats. They want to stay safe from other big animals. So birds stay safe in the trees. That's why they like to live up there. Every animal has their own reason why they are in some place. They're looking for chow, for food. They're also looking for water. And they're looking for safety. They want to stay safe from other animals. So let's see why these animals live where they live. Why does a turtle live in a pond? Why does a frog live in a pond? There are a couple of good reasons. For example, what can we find all around every pond? We can find flies and insects and bugs all around the pond. Frogs love bugs and insects, so frogs go to the pond to find food. That's their reason for living in a pond, because they can find lots of food there. Turtles as well. What's this stuff in the water? We could call it seaweed or water lilies, some kind of plant that lives underwater. Turtles love to eat these, and that's why they stay in the pond. Can you guys say that word for me? Can you say pond? Pond. A small, still body of water that never goes anywhere. One place where animals love to hang out. Now these animals have a special shelter of their own. They live under the ground. What do we call this hole? The hole under the ground where animals live is called a barrow. Can you say barrow? I know it sounds funny, sounds like we should say burrow, but the better way to pronounce this word is barrow. These animals live in barrows to stay safe, to hide from lions and tigers and bears who want to eat them up. So they dig and dig and dig. Down there under the ground, they rarely find food. So that's why they have to step out of their barrows to find food. As soon as they eat, they go back down to stay safe. What animals live in the barrow? What are these animals called? What is this? This is a beaver. Beavers like to chew on wood, and they like to hide under the ground. Now, what do we see on the other side of this picture? Right here, we see a little prairie dog. Can you say prairie dog? Prairie dogs are the cutest little animal that you can find. They live in a group of animals, and one of these animals is the guard. The guard watches as the others eat. The guard watches for any danger, and if the guard sees dangerous animals, the guard says, "Chip, chip," and everyone quickly hides in the burrow. So that's why prairie dogs use barrows to stay safe from dangerous animals. So what do we know so far? We know that animals live in the trees, in the pond, and in barrows. Let's see where else we can find animals. This here, hole in the rocks, is called a cave. Inside a cave, we can find many animals too. For example, we find this sneaky little flying mammal called a bat. Bats are sneaky and crazy and yucky, and I don't like them. But they're interesting animals who help us all the time. We can find bats in there, and we can find big grizzly bears. Bears. Alright, so a cave is like a hole inside a mountain, a hole inside of some rocks. Have you ever been to a cave? Caves are dark and wet and scary places, but they have some interesting rocks inside. So caves are a good place to visit, as long as there are no bears or bats around. So why do bears and bats stay in the cave? Hmm? Do they find food in the cave? Not quite. What are they doing in a cave? Bears and bats have a different reason for living in the cave. It's not to find food or water. It isn't to stay safe from other scary animals. 'Cause what is the bear scared of? A bear is scared of no animal in the forest. Bears are really tough, so they're not hiding in the cave from other animals. What are they doing in the cave? They are staying safe from bad weather. That's what they're doing in a cave. A cave is their shelter. A cave is a bear's shelter. What does shelter mean? Shelter is like a house for animals. It's a place where they can stay safe from animals, from other animals, but also from bad weather, like rains, storms, snowy weather, all of this. Well, you can hide in a cave to escape the weather. That's why bears stay in the cave. Not because of food, not because of other scary animals, but because of bad weather. That's why they go to the cave. See, animals have lots of reasons to stay where they stay. What about foxes and deer? Why do foxes and deer live in the woods? The woods are just another word for forest. Woods are a bit smaller and a forest is a bit bigger. But why do these animals stay here? You cannot hide from rain in a forest. But what you can do is find lots and lots of plants and leaves and tree branches that deer love to eat. So, deer live in the forest because of food. Deer live in the forest to find food. And foxes do the same. What do foxes eat? Foxes eat small animals like mice, rats, or even birds if they can catch one quickly enough. So foxes stay in the forest to find small animals, or in other words, to find food. Animals go to the forest to find food and protection. Remember how some animals can climb up the trees to hide from bigger animals that want to eat them up. So, we have different environments for different reasons. What about these animals? They have no feet to walk with. They have no hands for grabbing things. These animals have different kinds of bodies because they live in a very different place. Instead of hands, this animal has tentacles. Can you say tentacles? Yucky. An octopus, this animal, an octopus has 8 tentacles, or 8 of their own special hands. But the whale has no tentacles. The whale instead has fins. The whale uses fins for swimming, just like we use our hands and legs. So these are called fins. Okay? They are adjusted. These animals know how to live in the ocean because they are made for the ocean. They're not made for living on the ground. They're made for living in the ocean as well. What about these two? Mandy and Michael live in a house. The house is our shelter. The house or the apartment, like where I live, is our shelter. It's where we try to stay safe from bad weather, from cold, from rain, from snow, and also from bad guys. When we lock ourselves in our house, we are safe from any danger. So, we, just like other animals, also need to find shelter. Alright, excellent work everyone. It's time to go over all of these different places that we've seen. Which animals live in the woods? Which animals can we find in the forest? Do you remember? Here's a picture to remind you. Deer and foxes. Sometimes we can find wild pigs that can hurt you actually pretty bad. We call these wild pigs boar. Can you say boar? Boars live in the forest too. What about the ocean? Who lives in the ocean? Those weird octopuses and what else? Whales and many, many other fish. Which animals live in the pond? Let's answer this question in a full sentence. Which animals live in the pond? Instead of just saying frogs and turtles, it's better if we say the full sentence. Frogs and turtles live in the pond. That is the proper way to answer my questions. Let's say it together. Frogs and turtles live in the pond. Awesome possum. Finally, we have the barrow, who lives under the ground. Moles, rats, rabbits, snakes, and prairie dogs. They try to hide from the sun and from other scary animals. They live in the barrow. All of these are environments with food, water, and shelter for the animals. And that's why these animals choose their environments, because they're very well adapted and ready to live in them. Alright guys, let's do a word exercise before we go. Let's try to find the relationship between these two words, the first two words in a sentence, so that we can find the missing word in the second part of the sentence. Pond is to lake. A pond is a very, very tiny lake. So we are looking for something that is like a stream, but bigger than a stream. Pond, lake. Stream, river. We're looking for the word river. Can we find it up here? Yes, we can. It's right here. What about number 2? Cave is to underground, as cloud is where? Caves are underground and clouds are in the sky. So that's the relationship here. The cloud is in the skies. Let's see about number 3. Woods is to trees. Woods are made up of trees. There are many, many trees in the woods. So what is a pond made of? A pond is made of water. Woods are made of trees. Ponds are made of water. That's the same relation between the words. And finally, we find salt water in the ocean. What kind of water do we find in the lake? It's not salt water, it's fresh water. Ocean is to salt water as lake is to fresh water. Nice work, guys. We finished our first word exercise. Let's do one more, one teeny tiny exercise, and we're done for today. Whales and many other animals live in the woods? No. Trees? No. In the the ocean. Yeah, there we go. Excellent work. Whales and many other animals live in the ocean. Bats often live in a dark, creepy, scary cave. Number 3. Many kinds of trees grow in the... Where do trees grow? In the woods behind my house. And finally, you guys can do number 4 all by yourselves. What has roots, a trunk, and branches? Roots in the ground, a big fat brown trunk, and many branches sticking out. A tree. Excellent work, guys. A tree has roots, a trunk, and branches. You did it. We're done for this lesson for today. Thank you very much for listening and speaking when you did. You guys did a great job today. We learned about animals and where they like to live. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye, boys and girls. See you soon.